Welcome to the Best Practices from Distinguished Club session. Today, we will cover what is the Distinguished Club program, why it is important, and examples of best practices, or the how. I have assembled a diverse panel from large clubs and small clubs, both community and corporate clubs. Each panel member will give a presentation. Our first panelist today is Sam Marazzo, who will explain the Distinguished Club program. She's a member of Salesforce Toastmasters.
Thank you everyone for joining today. We're going to talk about what the Distinguished Toastmasters program is. So first I wanted to go over the missions. So Toastmasters International has the mission of we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Then at the district level, we move into we build new clubs and support all clubs. And at the club level, we move into we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. So keep that growth in mind as we continue. The values of Toastmasters are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And we want to find ways to maintain those values in all of our club meetings and moving forward. So what is a Distinguished Toastmasters Club? It's an annual program that starts from July 1st until June 30th of the following year. And there are 10 goals that you can check off as you go through in order to obtain different levels of the Distinguished Toastmasters Club status. There are some qualifications in order to be able to participate in this program, such as being in good standing and having 20 members or a net growth of at least 3 new dual or reinstating members as of June 30th of the previous year. So there are 10 goals, as I said, and they're broken down into 4 categories. The first category is education. And these goals revolve around varying levels of awards being achieved. So level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, or path completion. And these path completions and level awards have to be achieved by different individuals. It cannot be the same individual receiving the same award over and over and over again. So that allows for the continued growth of our members through pathways. The second category is membership. So these include goals around how many members you're acquiring over the course of a year. So 4 initially, and then 4 additional to achieve both. The third category is training. So this is for officer training. 4 club officer roles must be trained during each of the 2 training periods. And both of these training periods must be achieved in order to obtain this goal. And then for administration, the last category, on-time payment of membership dues accompanied by the names of 8 members for 1 period and on-time submission of 1 club officer list. So we want to make sure we're keeping our records up to date so we can really track that progress and growth that we're really trying to achieve. All of this information can be found on the dashboard in Club Central section of the Toastmasters International site. So you'll see that all the goals are listed, and you'll see for 9 and 10, even though there's only those one goal each for those levels, it's listed as 2 because you have to complete those 2 parts in order to achieve the goal. So you can track your progress and whether or not your club is eligible for this program at the top with the membership section at the top. The club statuses can also be accessed via the link dashboards.toastmasters.org, where you can kind of drill down into the different districts and clubs. And lastly, there's different levels of Distinguished Toastmasters. So if you finish 5 goals, you will be considered a Distinguished Toastmaster Club, 7, a Select Distinguished, and 9, a President's Distinguished. If you are competitive, like I happen to be, you will want to reach 9 goals, but any of those distinguished levels is a great accomplishment, and it really shows that your club is tracking against those metrics in order to consistently improve your members and make sure that people are progressing along on their pathways. And next, we're going to hear a bit about the hows of this program. And so I will pass it back to Denise.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, our second panelist is Joy Fang. She will cover the educational awards in the DCP, or the Distinguished Club program. It's the first 6 goals. She's a member of GTOAST.
If you're VPE or you're any club officers, you might have heard so many reasons people say, I cannot give a prepared speech. Well, let's show what are the reasons. I don't have time to write speeches. My answer to that is, it's all about priority. If something is important for us, to you, you can do it. Often we put our work, family, children, and we're at the bottom of the priority line. But I really recommend everyone to put yourself up, really, because self-growth is such a great investment, and don't start too late. And I'd also want to say, because I only been with one club, only the corporate club. So what I share here is really from that angle. I don't have retirees in my club, so I cannot really say, oh, my club member just want to come to the meeting for social event. Because no, my members come there once a week, noon time only, because they sacrifice other things. So my member, I feel they want really gain something out of it to directly really help with the career in a big pharmaceutical company. And the second concern question I have is too stressful to present. And I'll say, you have to present with your department in front of your supervisors, but the Toastmaster Club is the best, the friendliest club audience you can find. Practice with us. Then we can help you when you move on to your really public ones, make you much more comfortable. Then your stress will decrease as you practice more with us. And the third one, they say, I don't know what to talk about. I say, really, what excites you? When you talk to your friends, at the water cooler, what you talk about worries you, just say that, and you can make it into speech. And people often say, I'm nobody. I'm not a director. I haven't invented anything. And I don't think people will be interested in my speech. I just say, do you have a parent? Do you have siblings? Do you have friends? All these will help. Someone say, I'm only child. No one knows what I'm suffering or I'm suffering through. Or someone say, I have 7 siblings. I say, all these can be shared because we all can share your joy and your pain and your suffering. So don't worry about it. And then someone say, I'm afraid of the speech evaluator. I know in my club, we have really some tough speech evaluators. When they give you a sandwich, they give you open-faced pizza, piled with meats, very little carbohydrate there. So really I say, let me be your evaluator next time. And someone do say, I don't want to prepare. I want to wing it because I want to look over-prepared. I have to tell this group, the common rule or the rule of thumb, Topner say that for the experienced speakers, when you spend 1 minute on stage, you need to spend 1 hour off stage. So when you feel you're over-prepared, I feel you're underprepared because think of mine, when you present a slide deck, to the point you know it so well, you don't have to read it. You know so well, you talk to the audience through the camera, and every body language is well rehearsed. You know when to add this or when to add this, really make your speech more polished. The last thing is, I haven't seen any improvement in the past 6 months. I come to every meeting, I haven't seen any improvement. I'll say, did you just participate in the table topics? Well, that's really hard to change. You have been speaking at this for your 2 or 3 decades, and takes time. Public speaking is truly a muscle. You can ask all the distinguished Toastmasters, say, stop speaking, stop practicing for a few months. What do you see? They all can tell you. The filler words comes back, my speech becomes disorganized. Truly, you have to work on this. But I also want to add, you likely to be the last one observed you have approved because we see the improvements. So come with me and work on 3 speeches and tell you have improved. I can tell you the fact. With this, can we show the next slide? I do have to work with 3 types of club members. The new members actually is great because when they sign up to be a member, we have to use the momentum, arrange their icebreaker speech right away, and then closely work with them for the first 3 speeches. Statistics have shown that when someone has completed 3 speeches, the chances for them to drop out is significantly decreased. We all have seen inactive members. that's actually what worked out for me and for quite a few clubs. I learned that from Genentech. I worked at the Toastmasters at Gilead. It's basically assign speaker roles to every one of them 1 to 3 months ahead of time. You may say that won't work, but I tell you, it works 95% time, because you will not get a hate mail say, no, you cannot assign roles to me. Yes, you can. And often when they come up with the cues, they cannot do it. Always they come to say, can I get another time? It works. Please try it. Last, for the naysayers, I refer to lots of distinguished Toastmasters. They don't like the pathway. They say, I will not do it. But let them to do this better speaker series and successful club series, like we're doing here now, because they have presented this kind of speeches before and they can do it. With that, I do want to say, come to the next slide, is really take care of our VPEs or Vice President of Education, because they take the blunt of workload. For all the roles, meeting scheduler, new member orientation, mentor-mentee, and the speech contest chair, can we all offload from them so they can really mentor the new members or mentor the existing members? Be creative. Can you evaluate the TED Talk? None of them is perfect. Can you invite lots of speech evaluators? We have so many award-winning ones. And with this, I recommend everyone to just think creatively to make giving speech fun. Back to you, Denise.
All right, thank you, Joy. Our next speaker today is Matthew Tall. He will share some best practices. He's a member of Pucksters.
Hi, my name is Matthew. I am a VPE for Pucksters Toastmasters in San Francisco. We are about 50% corporate. The Puck and Pucksters is the Public Utilities Commission. We're also about 50% local community club. We have a lot of people from the surrounding neighborhood. So that's kind of the experience that we bring. So what I'm bringing to this panel is kind of the rest of the points from the Distinguished Club program and maybe some intangibles, some things that I think are important as a club that may not be reflected as points tallied on the DPM club system. So first, I've given you an example here of our DTM club status report. This is from early July at the beginning of the year. And Joy just went over the 6 points in education. Obviously, if you can get those 6 points, just getting your members through their speeches and aligning it so that you get enough members that hit those certain levels, you've already hit distinguished club status. But there's a little bit more that your club can do to get into the 7, 8, and 9 points. So membership, I've heard that there was an entire membership segment earlier today, how to boost membership. I'm not going to be speaking too heavily on that. So instead, I want to talk about the training and administration here. Obviously, 2 times a year, your club officers are looking to get trained in their roles. Use this as an opportunity to network, to learn what successful clubs are doing in those particular roles. And it's a good way for your club officers to just get involved and learn what their roles are. And twice a year, you get 1 point for just doing that. When it comes to the administration, membership dues, submitting on time is one of those that needs to happen once or twice a year, I think twice a year. And the club officers sent on time. Now, one of the important things and I'll actually go back here just a second. Now, I guess I can. I was just going to say that it's oftentimes the outgoing officers who know who the incoming officers are. They're the ones responsible for sending in the officer list. Make sure they do that before they hand over the reins to you. All of those administrative and training tasks, in my opinion, are 3 points for your club. You just need your officers to sit down and do the work. Now, I also wanted to show off something that our club is really proud of, and that is a website, public-facing website here. It has home pages, it has testimonials, links to different meeting roles at D4TM, what new members can expect when they're coming in, learning about these roles for the first time. And finally, in our documents tab of our website, we post our advanced schedule. As the VPE, I am building the schedule right now for September and October. We do this 2 months at a time. And as you can see here, it is color-coded by these different roles. Each of our members get assigned a role. They know at least 2 or 3 weeks in advance, but as much as 2 months in advance, right? By the time the new schedules come out. I wanted to tell a brief story here. Our club used to leave a couple of roles off of the schedule. We would keep the joke master and the awe counter as kind of back pocket roles, so that when we got into a meeting and there would be extra either honored guests or members in the audience, we could spontaneously assign those roles. The problem we faced is that some of our members, if they checked the advanced schedule and noticed they weren't assigned, were less likely to show up to the meetings. And so as club officers, we made the decision, all right, let's assign every role. And in the last 3 to 4 months, we've seen an actual uptick in members showing up and actually taking on those roles, which is a fun thing maybe you could use in your club. What I'm calling the intangibles. So these are not points that you're going to get towards your distinguished Toastmasters club, but they are things that I think really do inform whether you can become a distinguished club. These are things like the outgoing website, the advanced schedule. As you can see on the right here, our Toastmaster is the one who's responsible for designing the weekly agenda. We have a template that is sent out, but you can see at the top, we have our club motto. We have word of the day so the grammarian can capture that. On the left side, we have all of our officers' info in case anybody has questions. We also have the following week's roles. And then we have a breakdown by time of all of the roles, when each role is going to hit and when you're going to stop, for instance, table topics. And the Toastmaster sends out 2 emails a week trying to get people to confirm those roles. It's this constant checking in on the members and getting them to confirm that we see brings the people back every week. People don't want to, for instance, not show up to one of these meetings or have to find a replacement in the event that happens. And so this is all incredibly useful. And the last thing I would say is an intangible is the officer election. Everything I've talked about so far, either from the VPE role, what the Toastmaster has to do here with the agenda, or the VP of membership or VPPR does with creating the websites, it takes officer support, people who really are involved, really want to put in the effort. When it comes to your next officer election, make sure that people work well together, make sure they're willing to take that extra hour a week after the meeting to put in the time. All of these are going to be incredibly useful to your club. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to our host, Denise.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Our 4th and final panelist today is Afifa Tawil. She will tell us why the Distinguished Club program is important. She's a member of Virtual Speak.
Thank you, Denise. So my name is Afifa. I'm going to talk to you about why you should follow DCP or Distinguished Club program. You might be thinking, our clubs are already excellent. Why should I follow DCP? It's just more work. We already have to plan club meetings and we have contests. We have all these things coming up. Why should I care about doing one more thing? Well, newsflash, no one joins Toastmasters to be a better Toastmaster. And it's hard to think, but you don't join Toastmasters so you can be a better all counter. You don't join Toastmasters so you can be a better evaluator. You don't go around telling your spouse or your friends, you know what? I counted 10 ahs and ums in your speech right now. Those are a lot of filler words. No one does that. You don't join Toastmasters to be a better Toastmasters. You join Toastmasters so you can be a better version of yourself, to be a better communicator, so you can be a better leader. When you're in Toastmasters and you take on roles such as all counter, it's really so that you can be a better speaker, and that's so you can be a better listener. And then if you're a better listener, you're aware of like, oh, I'm hyper aware. I'm doing a lot of uhs and ums, and that takes away from my main message. You don't want to do that. one wants
Oh.
to be a better evaluator and you're a better evaluator so that you can be a better listener, so you can give feedback properly, like in your day job or anything else. And that's why you're joining Toastmasters. You can be better about those things, not so you can be better at Toastmasters, not so you can be better at attending meeting, so you can be a better version of yourself, so you can be a better listener, so you can be better at giving feedback, so you can convey your message better. And DCP is a really great benchmark so that you can control your club and make sure that it is a place that people can actually grow. When Sam talked about a lot of these different DCP aspects, and it's one of those is the educational portion. And that one is really checking, are people growing? And then if you see part of it is this, okay, we have to do level 1, we have to do a few level 3s, a few level 4s, some level 5s, and that's all about retaining your members. You can't get a bunch of level 4s or level 5s if your members aren't retained, and if people aren't actually growing and going through the whole education process. The other part is about growing, get more members, 4 more plus 4 more, or a net growth of 3. That's all about, do we have enough members to run an effective meeting? So those are really about points on, can it be an effective meeting so that we can create the best environment for everyone to grow? And then the last part, and this is something that Matt was talking about the intangibles, do your officers know what they're doing? Are they submitting their reports on time? Are they going into training? Those are all benchmarks for a successful club. And if those are met, the environment for your members is enhanced so that they can grow into the best version of themselves. And again, I mentioned no one joins Toastmasters to be a better Toastmasters. So how can you actually apply DCP outside of Toastmasters? And then the big one is, in Toastmasters, we say this is where leaders are made. When you become a club officers and you're learning about DCP, this is where leaders are made. DCP is all about goal settings. Who here has to do OKRs for work, the objective and key results, or MBOs, management by objective? Those are all goal setting. And in Toastmasters, when we say this is DCP, those are the goals already written for you. And it's all about you as an officer, you as a leader, how you can create a plan so you can apply this and then execute on the plan. And this is all a really safe environment for you to become a leader and practice all this stuff. So that way, when you're outside of Toastmasters, like when you're a manager or when you're a leader on your team and you're learning about how do we actually retain members, or how do we retain our employees? How do we create an environment for our employees to grow? Or how can I get better relationships with my kids and ensure that they're growing and that they are creating a place of trust? This is all about, you're setting up goals, you're creating a plan, and you're executing on the plan. And this is what DCP is. You're creating a great environment for your club by following all these different guidances that Toastmasters International, with its years and years and decades of experience, have created. And that you don't have to create these new goals because it's already set for you. You learn how to execute on the goal, create a plan, execute, drive a team so that you can meet these goals. And so you can practice doing all this stuff so that you can become a better leader outside of Toastmasters. And again, Toastmasters has a lot of great resources, and we do something called Moments of Truth. And this is a great place for you to check how great is your club is. How's your first impressions that people have? Are people getting action oriented? Do you have culture in your club? Are your meetings run effectively? Are your members growing? And are people getting recognized? And if you think about this in your day job, all of this kind of interlines. We learn about all of this stuff in Toastmasters, and you can apply it directly in your day job. And that's what DCP is all about. And we have the club success plan. It's a whole template already created for you, so you can try to write your plan of how to achieve these goals. So again, no one joins Toastmasters to be better at Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a great place for you to apply your leadership skills and practice, and DCP is a great opportunity for you to do that. So consider it, apply it, right? Use all the resources available to you and create the best environment for your members and practice leading in your new role.
All right, thank you. Very good. So I'm going to stop sharing. And now it's time for our Q&A session. Do we have any questions in the chat? Okay. Okay. Oh, somebody asked if we can share, especially Joy, if you can share your slides. Okay. Okay, and one person asked, how do we find DCP? Is there a URL? Anyone like to answer that question?
I call a friend Ken. Can manage the D4TM.org. Is basically stands for District 4 Toastmasters and has all the link, I thought, and all the wealth of resources.
Also, the Toastmasters.org talks all about the Distinguished Club program as well. All right, I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to ask my own questions. Okay, so how do you handle the members who don't want to use Pathways for whatever reason?
I listened in to a little bit of Ken Colley's presentation last, and the fact that you can jump to other parts of your path, look for electives maybe further ahead, allows you to oftentimes find something tangentially related to a speech you were going to give anyway. If you could, tie it to that, hone it a little bit in that direction and get evaluated on that, it can become a pathway speech. On the other hand, I will also say that with, let's say, 2 speakers a week, you can, theoretically get all of your speeches required for the education requirements in like 4 months. If every single speech works with every single level, obviously it's not going to be that easy, but that does mean there is some wiggle room that every club probably has. Obviously, don't make it the majority of what speeches are being given, but if you have an old timer that's maybe not wanting to give a speech on Pathways, it might not be the end of the world. It depends on your club, though.
Hi, Afifa.
Yeah, so if I think there's a few parts. If you have members that completely don't want to do Pathways, maybe they already did the old manuals, like I did all the old manuals. There are a bunch of great resources available that they can give speeches, like the Club Success Plan, all those Club Success series, or the Better Speaker series. And all of this is Googleable. Just Google Toastmasters Better Speaker series or Toastmasters Better Club series. They can give a speech from there. Those are helpful. And with Pathways, some of it is really interesting because a lot of it is more applicable to outside of Toastmasters than anything else. Like, here's how to start a blog, here's social media. So it is actually really interesting, and you can catch this with some members. It's either on the evaluation, is what was your goal of the speech, what are you trying to accomplish, or other ways of why did you join Toastmasters to begin with, and maybe try this different path that's more aligned to your goals. Or someone's mentioning like, yeah, there's different projects that you can do. So it's what is their main goal, and maybe they can do a few icebreakers, maybe they can go to the humorous path, but there's plenty of speeches that they could do. The important thing is do a speech from a manual, because those have objectives and a focus area on where you can improve versus just speaking to see if you have better filler words and organization, because eventually that's fine, but your message can become so much stronger if you have an objective for your speech.
All right, great. Sam, did you want to add something?
Yeah, kind of adding on what Afifa said, it's good to have conversations, especially in corporate clubs, about what are your career goals? Like, are you trying to get to a point where you're going into a manager or director role? You're going to have to present more. Let's look at what sort of characteristics are people going to be looking at in terms of promotions, and let's pick a pathway based on that. And then I also wanted to add the flip side of what Matt said about, you might already be doing a speech that applies to a pathway. Is if you need help finding topics for speeches, Pathways can kind of guide you in that direction as well. And I advise people to sign up for speeches before they have a topic planned, because then it will push them to go into their Pathways, figure out the topic they need, and then proceed.
All right, great. Joy, did you want to add something to that?
Yes, I do, because I work with many PhDs, chemists, biologists, someone with advanced law degree, but none of them, and in our education, public speaking is not one of them, at least not focused. So at this point, the other day, I had the argument with Ken, which is best, which better, Pathway or the legacy program. At this point, it really doesn't matter, because if you get someone get on this, even they can complete level 1, it is a great improvement for them. So at this point, really, if someone don't like Pathway, but my question, what do you want? And also want to share with you, at my company, all the C-suite executives, they have speech coaches, paid big bucks to get them speech coaches, videotape what they do and get feedback. So Toastmaster, I really think is the best option, is relatively inexpensive and gives the feedback, because we don't need speech coach because we have so many resources among our members. So that's what I want to add, basically the value the Toastmaster program added to the corporate people. Back to you.
Okay, next question. What do you recommend when some club officers don't care about achieving Distinguished Club program goals? They are not contributing to the effort.
I think this goes back to a lot of the points I made in the speech. It does seem like in some ways this is just more work. You have to make sure the meetings are running effectively, make sure that you run contests and all of this stuff. But DCP it will come naturally if your club is a strong club. If it's a strong club, you're retaining members, more people are hearing about Toastmasters, they're joining Toastmasters, people want to grow, they're going through their pathways. So it's really a benchmark for this is a strong club, and it checks that. So maybe you're a strong club and you don't actually have to invest in this and just comes in just natural that you're meeting all these DCP goals, that's great. But if you're not meeting the DCP goals, something is missing. And your role as an officer would be a lot easier if you're achieving those goals, because then you're growing your members and more people want to come because they're like, oh, I can grow in this club. And then they'll join, and then your meetings would be easier because now you have more members because people are actually growing. So why is it that they don't want to follow? And if their why is that this is too much work, it will be less work if you follow it, because then your club would be stronger.
All right, very good. Joy, did you want to add something to that, or just a thumbs up?
Add quickly, I think all the happy families share common things. And I feel that like the DTP, the DCP 10 goals, basically the family care about each other, the parents care about children respect their family, everyone share. But every dysfunctional family had their different reasons. So I feel come back to this one. Don't think of the goal, they're really arbitrary, but I think really is basically if you check it, everything checked off, you will be there. And my last question to answer you, say when officer doesn't care, a particular officer, I want to ask what do they do? What's their role? Is there, if a VPE doesn't care about the Distinguished Club, because I do visit quite a few clubs and many clubs tell me, oh, we care about social. We want the social aspect here. It may work for them, it's okay, but will not work for my corporate club because people say, I don't want to waste an hour, just come to social. I have other way to social. Back to you.
All right, very good, very good. Sam?
I think the other thing that would be an important conversation to have would be sort of find out, kind of back to the why, like find out why they became an officer, what were they looking for, and have their priorities changed? Do they no longer have the bandwidth to be an effective officer? And sometimes those conversations have to be had. Is there something that needs to, do they need to step back, or is there something that you can do to kind of help facilitate their ability to participate a bit better? But I think a lot of the time as humans, we just think like, why aren't they doing it? And you just need to have those conversations and figure out what's going on, like the root cause.
All right, very great. Matt?
I love all these answers. I'll also say that I would try to convince the officer the following. Basically, I share home club with TLI Chair Gretchen, so I'm going to be paraphrasing from her here, which is, if you're given the speeches anyway, why not have the speeches count towards this DTM program? Like, it's minimal extra effort. You're already having to do a weekly agenda. You're already having to get people in the room. It just makes sense. You get to have the banner, you get to have the name, the status that brings your club. Obviously, we've actually had members who have found us like search only for clubs, either on the website or through Google. They only want clubs that are distinguished in some category. Like, it is actually a thing that has happened. So you might as well just align those interests. It's an easy sell as far as I'm concerned to that officer.
All right, very good, very good. All right, next question. Do you know anything about the accredited speaker program for Toastmasters? Okay,
Uh,
I'm not aware of that one either, honestly, but okay, yes.
Um,
Afifa.
so part of the accredited speaker program is you have to give a certain number of hours to be a speaker. And certain number of those hours should be paid, and then you become an accredited speaker. You can Google it, more information on it. Some of the people that win the actual international contest become professional speakers. They get invited to different Toastmasters clubs. They can make a living. Some of them write books. If you go to a bunch of these TLIs, there's a lot of authors from there selling their stuff. Usually when you win, then you can make money from becoming a speaker, both in and outside of Toastmasters. But it's separate from DCP, but it is like people have made careers from learning how to be a better speaker at Toastmasters.
All right, very good, very good. Okay, next question. Which is the smaller club? How do you coax your team to tackle these goals with lower numbers? If you miss being distinguished due to membership, how do you still targeting the rest of the DCP goals besides membership?
Jump in here quickly just to talk about, I guess, some of the mechanics of getting your members through levels. You may think that a smaller club is less likely to hit your education goals, maybe because you don't have any level 3 people, and so therefore you're not going to get any level 3 awards or level 4 awards. I will say that as I'm building the next schedule right here, our speakers speak once every 2 months right now because of the size we are, and we're at about 25 members. A smaller club actually has the potential to have speakers speak a lot more frequently. You can climb those levels faster. I see our members, it takes them about 3 months to get through level 1, maybe 4 or 5 months. And as a smaller club, you might be actually able to climb that quicker. Likewise, larger clubs, there is a real lead lag time between your speakers in the education. So if you need a level 4 in 8 months' time, the only people who are going to be capable of doing that are people who are in level 3 or level 4 right now. Like, it's just going to be hard to get that person through all those levels in that time with a larger club. So those are kind of the dynamics you got to keep in your head. Obviously, having more people does allow you to have more people at different levels, but if say you had 10 new members all at once, they're all going to be level 1s, right? They're not going to be, level 4s immediately. I hope that kind of clarifies.
All right. Joy, did you want to add something?
I want to clarify your question. Are you asking about if my club only 8-9 people, and what's the point of trying to reach any DCP? Is that the question? Or
I think, yeah, the question is kind of saying, like, because the Distinguished Club program is a combination of achieving the goals with the members and having the 20 or the net growth of 3. So let's say if they achieve 9 goals, but then they don't have the members, that can be a scenario. You know,
they won't
They
become
won't get distinguished,
At
right?
the same time, I know quite a few clubs just in this situation, and they only fall on the part of the growth train members. But I feel Toastmasters, it's a personal growth, and also it's a team game, I guess, team sports. So team sport part, even we didn't get that one, but look back, does everyone grow in this past year? The answer is absolutely yes. So question, don't just say, oh, because we can get the distinguished, so we won't work on it. I'll say that, come to that.
All right, very good. Sam, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I would also say that it's a good opportunity to practice. So my guess would be some of the smaller clubs are newer clubs, so you're not there yet, but you will get there. So practicing those skills, like Matt was saying, and helping people get through their pathways and building those sort of methodologies in order to coach people in the future means that when you are eligible for the club program, then you will be able to actually get that distinguished status much easier.
All right, great. Okay. All right. So it looks like we have like actually, we have about 2 minutes to go. Any final thoughts?
I just want to add, I'm one of those really small clubs. Our club has less than 10 people. We did not get distinguished due to size, like we didn't grow by the +5 last year, but it's at least this year is +3. But we would have been distinguished or select distinguished have we met the membership goals. And it's really about, even though we're a small club, everyone is an officer and people are growing. A few of us were like, I'm DTM, we used to have like 2 other DTMs on the club. It's still effective and we're making sure that the new members that are brand new Toastmasters are still growing. It's just the environment is it's a corporate club and the company isn't growing and it's going through acquisitions and all of that dealing. So we just make sure that we're enjoying the meetings and everyone is growing and it's still effective and we still apply DCP because we get to practice our leadership skills that way.
Okay. Oh, there's one more question. Ooh, can a member of one club pursue 2 paths concurrently? The answer would be yes, you can. Okay, I think we are good. We are out of time. So thank you. You guys all did a wonderful job. I really appreciate it.